Hello, I'm Rowena Hicks. Join me today as we have a look at statistics that are around at the moment for teacher burnout, stress, sickness, all those sorts of things, and to see where you fit into that and how we can make ourselves the best version of ourselves within that situation, and to consider, is that okay? So I want to start today by looking at, well, there's so many statistics I could quote, aren't there? Let me start with 75% of all school staff are stressed. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's awful. That's so high. So I Googled other jobs, and the average of stressed employees in the UK at the moment is actually 76%. So teacher stress is the same as other types of jobs. I mean, that's shocking and sad in itself, because stress, when it's not dealt with, is going to lead quite often to burnout in some form, and it's not okay. And the extra sad statistic is 30% or over 30% of workers in the UK report that the significant stress they feel is impacting their productivity. So the ridiculous thing about this is that the more stressed we are, the more we are on survival and struggling and feeling like we're running on empty, the less productive we are. And we all know that. The research shows that. So if you're a school leader, the challenge for you today is to say to your staff, come on, we've got to reduce this stress, because you're going to become more productive. As you get more productive, you get more done, so then you become less stressed. So what do you do if you're more junior? You're struggling with your stress levels. You have very little influence. Teachers tell me they just don't feel like they're heard or listened to. We'll talk about that in a minute. Huge issue. So what can you do for yourself with your stress levels? This is a really massive topic, isn't it? And I want to go through a few more statistics today, but start thinking today about that link between stress and too much stress and then becoming less productive. Does that resonate with you? So when I could sense myself getting more stressed in my jobs, different jobs, maybe class teacher, maybe specialist teacher, doesn't really matter, deputy head, whatever it was, the jobs I was doing, even training, which I loved them all actually. When I could sense myself getting more stressed, my brain became more foggy, and it was like all these ideas going around in my head, and I could sense that I wasn't productive. So how can you turn that on your head for yourself? Is it to do one job at a time? Stop this ridiculous multitasking, because it's not a real thing. Not really. You don't do anything very well. You might think that you're listening to someone when you're writing something down, doing another task at the same time, but you're not really, not doing it very well. So can you think, what could you do, one thing today that might be able to help your productivity level to bring the stress down, right? Is it doing the worst job first? Or maybe it's something completely different, and going to a colleague and saying, can you help me with this? And book in a meeting and do your reports together. Share phrases, share knowledge of children. What is it that might help you? Do a marking session together with a colleague. All sorts of ideas you can share, and think about different ways to reduce your stress or to up your productivity, because those statistics are worrying, aren't they? So what about this statistic? Okay, 47% of teachers go into work sick. Well, that really resonates with me, because a little while ago now, I had the most horrible cough. It's well before COVID, so I suppose it was quite a while ago. It's probably 5 years ago now. And I really felt unwell, and then I felt iller and iller, and I had so much to do, and I was a special needs coordinator, SENCO at the time, and I felt I could never get on top of my workload. So if I didn't do it, no one would do it, and the children wouldn't, get what they needed, and the class teachers wouldn't get the support they needed, the parents. So I carried on going into work. One day I woke up, my chest was really so clogged up, and I knew I had to go and see the doctor. So I got an appointment, which in the UK in itself is a bit of a miracle. And the GP said to me, "Why didn't you come and see me 2 weeks ago when this started?" And I said, "Oh, I didn't have time for an appointment." And really, where's our self-care here? If you need to go and see a doctor, you need to go and see a doctor. And I had to take some time off because I got so ill. Stupid. If I'd gone in earlier and got the antibiotics, I wouldn't have had the time off because I'd have carried on taking the antibiotics while I was at work and wouldn't have got so sick. Okay. I had pneumonia. Stupid. Should have got there quicker. And that's one simple example of what we do. We go in really unwell, don't we? But what about a little bit of self-care? What would that look like to you? I'm not advocating we take time off every time we feel sick, because as a leader and looking at attendance and covering classes was my job at one point. It's really tough. But actually, we need to start thinking, are we looking after ourselves adequately that we can be the best, strongest, healthiest version of ourselves? Are you eating healthily? Maybe you need some vitamins. Are you taking exercise? Are you resting? Are you sleeping? I've talked before about the sleep challenge I did. Oh my goodness, I found it so difficult. An hour before bed, no screen. So no telephone, no TV, nothing, no gadget. But when I did it, I slept so much better. Maybe try that. The correlation between stress and productivity and sleep and well-being is enormous. Sleep is crucial. It's way high up there on priorities for looking after yourself, being stronger emotionally, physically, in lots of ways, yeah? So there is the statistic of 48%, no, 47% go into school unwell. I would challenge you, are you looking after yourself well enough? I certainly wasn't. And the more tired I got and the more stressed I got, the less I looked after myself. So it got worse. Let's look at another statistic. And this makes me really sad. In the UK, less than 2 in 5 teachers felt confident in their role. Less than 2 out of 5 of us feel confident. I was going to do this podcast on whether self-doubt was causing you to burn out. What is this confidence crisis? I talk to teachers all the time and they say, my confidence is shattered. It's gone. My confidence in myself, my confidence as a teacher, my confidence as a creative, imaginative, energetic educator, it's gone. What's that about? Why? It's a really, really sad statistic. So do you feel that you are lacking in confidence? Are you filled of self-doubt, just not feeling good enough? Because you're not on your own. Would you dare to go and speak to someone and ask them if they feel the same? I've spoken to teachers and leaders and they're saying, I am so mentally overwhelmed and lacking in confidence. I just have been knocked and knocked and knocked again. Go speak to someone. Are they in the same place as you? Because this lack of confidence is really debilitating, because you can't be creative and energetic and you can't thrive if you've lost your confidence. Do you remember when you came into teaching, you started your job, you were so excited, all those ideas and that energy you brought. So if you're one of those 3 out of 5 who are lacking confidence, what can you do about it today? Do you need some training? Can you ask for some? Could you ask for some support? Could you get training for yourself? If you're exhausted, that might feel too difficult. Could you find a safe colleague, safe friend to go talk about this? Or call me, message me. I'd love to talk to you about it. There are so many small steps you can take to building your confidence. And believe me, I know, because it's been my journey. And we tend to be, as teachers, very focused. For example, when we have an observation, you get 2 positives and then something to work on. You don't really hear the positives particularly, do you? You hear that thing that didn't go quite right, that you've got to improve on. You need to hold on to that positive that you've been told, wow, that was lovely, the way you engaged the children. Win! Woohoo! And actually, yeah, we've all got things to work on because we're learning and growing, aren't we? Else we stagnate and there's no point in carrying on, really. It's that growth mindset. You've got to hold on to the positive and then think, right, okay, if there's something I need to work on, my marking's not good enough. Fine, I can do that. How can I do it? Not, oh no, that's just so awful. That's that self-awareness trap. It's what can I do to improve my marking? Right, 20 minutes a day, I'm going to set aside, and for 2 weeks, I'm going to get on top of my marking. Or I'm going to sit with a colleague and work on that for 15 minutes, twice a week. Whatever it is you need to do, it's possible, but you've got to be intentional and make it happen. I could do a whole podcast on confidence and self-doubt and everything. Maybe I will. Let me know if that would help you. There was one more statistic I want to talk about, and it's 59% of teachers considered leaving in the last year due to the pressure. This is a very real statistic. And I know it's the same in so many other countries. I've seen the statistics for the States and Australia recently. It's the same. Something's wrong. We need to be holding on to our teachers. We need to be looking after them. We need to be encouraging them, giving them confidence and energy, helping them be more productive. And there's so many little tiny things you can do to enable that. But it takes some investment, both in yourself if you're the teacher, but also if you're a leader for the school strategically. Small but really significant things you can do for your staff. Celebrate people's strengths. Do they even know their strengths? Their core competencies? I do a whole training on that. It's so exciting. Get staff excited about who they are and what they can offer. What about teams? I mentioned earlier about trust, and this is really lacking in schools. Teachers are reporting that there is a real problem of feeling that they have any autonomy or trust or any form of responsibility, too much sometimes, but being allowed to do what they're best at even. It comes down to trust, trusting your team, being trusted as part of a team, feeling seen and heard. Is that something in your school that is an issue? Is that impacting the confidence in your staff? Is it impacting the stress? Is it impacting how people feel that they are valued? There are so many areas in all of life, aren't there, that we need to look at. But I hope if you're a leader, you can think today about what you could do to build your team, to build the trust, to build confidence, and to think about some of these statistics because they're not okay. We've got to hold on to our teachers. We need to be valuing them, celebrating them. Teachers are amazing. They give out so much, too much often, so they go home empty. We've got to stop these burnout, stress, statistics, haven't we? So I hope that gives you some things to think about, and let me know if there's an area that you want me to build on, perhaps, and we can look at it in greater depth. Thanks for listening. I hope you took something of value from today. If you want to connect, I'm at rowenahicks.com, or I have a Facebook group, which is Preventing Teacher Burnout. So I look forward to connecting to you at one of those.